This is AFKast, the video game podcast. And here's your host, Malcolm Sheaver.
Alright, so welcome to the third BM episode of us bashing games. First one was Warzone, the second one was Zombies. We actually just did that one. And then this one is going to be about Destiny 2. And then the next one is going to be about Rainbow Six Siege. So like I said, today is about Destiny 2. We're going to be talking specifically about Destiny 2's potential. Because I feel like it's not a very great game right now, but it does have the potential to be a really great game in the future if they can just, update it correctly.
It's Bungie. What are you looking for here?
A good Halo game. Oh wait.
So for this week of AFKast, we are going to be talking about Destiny 2 and its potential. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to be talking about for Destiny 2 is going to be its story, because its story is...
Ass.
I mean, there are sections of it that are really good.
I would say the story is pretty decent, like, if you were to lay it out, but it's just, like...
In practice, it's ass.
It's just, like, well, like, in-game, it's just... There's nothing to it. Like, you can't find anything. Like, the story just isn't very existent, except for some, like, main quest cutscenes, and...
Even then, they're kind of cut from the game.
Yeah,
Red War was cut.
Red War, Curse of Osiris, and Warmind were all cut from the game.
I think they're still considered to be part of the lore. It's just like...
No, they're still part of the lore, because
people still talk about it in the game.
Yeah, in game people still talk about it. But, it's just the planets that they're on, the planets that those took place on. Well, except for a majority of the Red War, because a lot of that stuff, like, you can't. I don't think you can go into the farm anymore, can you?
No, that shit was gone like 4 years ago, bro.
No, I remember. It was there when I started playing. But
it got taken out very, very quickly.
It did. It was
like extremely. Because no one used it. No reason to.
True.
It's only used for when you don't have the tower. So once you get done with the Red War, you have it.
Yeah. I'd say, like, but even, like, the Red War and stuff like that, like, you had entire areas that were specific to the story that are basically completely cut out of the game as well. So, because that's, like, the farm, and then you also had the city that's below the Traveler. That was a big part of the campaign for a little bit, where you're, like, jumping across rooftops and stuff like that. Like, that was really cool.
I really like that.
But that was all taken out because Red War was taken out.
Yeah, but the city still does, that part of the city still does exist, it's just in a raid now.
Oh, really?
Scourge of the Past raid, yeah.
Oh, you know that place that we saw Aldrin go to get the shard of the...
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, that area was in Red War.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
I didn't know if you knew or not, so...
Yeah. I played Red War when it first came out.
And that place...
Well, no, it was the same place that the main character gets their light back.
And the same place where you get your subclasses, but now you get every subclass in the game, even the DLC ones.
Yeah, you get everything at the beginning. I say another part of it is just, like, the delivery is also terrible for it. Like some of the cutscenes are pretty cool, but there's the one cutscene where Cade 6 is dying with, like, our ghost trying to help him. And I literally couldn't hear anything Cade 6 was saying because the music was just blasting in the background, and I just couldn't hear any of it.
Even when I replayed it, I have all my, like, sound effect stuff and all of that at max.
Yeah.
Because, hey, beautiful game, beautiful music. But, like, even with having, like, all the voices and all that at max volume, I could still just barely even hear Cade.
We're talking about Forsaken you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Question.
And also overall, too, because like, you have, like, the music going, and then it's just like, what are you trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
That's because the subtitles don't work in the game.
Yeah. It only works for, like,
they
story
barely
stuff.
work.
It only works for story stuff. It doesn't do it for,
Even story stuff, it doesn't work.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
Oh.
I have them turned on, they just don't do anything.
They're very stupid. Very, very stupid.
Yeah. I say, like, another problem with like Red War being gone now as well is like it doesn't ground the story as much as it used to, because it used to be like Red War was like the thing that got you to the tower. It was the thing that got you the light. It was everything that Destiny 2 was built on, and then they got rid of it. So everything that it was grounded to just got it was just gone. It's like when you mine the bottom block of a Minecraft tree, and it just doesn't fall down, but there's also just nothing holding it up.
But then to add on to that, once they took the farm out, and even when the Red War was still there, you just go back to the tower like normal. It's like, okay, aren't the Cabal supposed to be overrunning the fucking city? How are we here? What's going on? What the fuck?
Who knows?
Doesn't make sense.
I would say, because everything is kind of just like up in the air. Stop licking me. Like, it's just like nothing feels connected in the game. Like you play all the different DLCs, and honestly it just kind of feels like you're playing a different character each time. Like you're kind of just there, like, because they mention some previous stuff, but nothing is like directly correlated. So
I think the timeline for expansions is it goes. I think it's supposed to go Red War. Well,
you have the other ones that they deleted as well.
Yeah. Oh, I think it goes Curse of Osiris, then Warmind, and then I think you go straight from Warmind to Forsaken. Because I remember seeing
and then
somewhere,
Shadowkeep and then
and then Shadowkeep and Beyond Light.
Shadowkeep is kind of one of the worst DLCs that.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's such like just a. Well, actually, there's a whole thing I can go on. It's probably later on in the script, but might as well get out of the way now, I guess. But Shadowkeep and Beyond Light are both just a bunch of fetch quest campaigns. That's all they are, and Michael can back me up on that.
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of go here, go get this shit, come back, talk to some thick exo stranger, and then.
And I understand if like they want you to go to like a specific area to kind of like set the atmosphere for the mission. But it's also like, why can't we just, like, start the mission from where we're standing?
Yeah.
Because, like, the moon doesn't really, like, for one of the missions for Shadowkeep on the moon, the spawn area is, like, so far from those missions. Well, like, they're not far from, like, a sparrow or anything, but, like, they're still a decent distance away.
If you're doing, like, a no sparrow run or something, it'd be hell.
It's just like, why can't we just like start the mission just from looking at the map?
Kind of like you could in D1 where if you were in orbit, you could start most missions.
Yeah.
You had to start them from orbit. You couldn't find them. Oh, God, that's bringing me to the open world part of the game. Is that later on in the script?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, we can rant on that when that happens. I have so much fucking shit to say about that.
I'd say another thing with like the story and everything is that like sometimes you speak, but then for most of the game you're not talking at all. It's mostly your ghost
talks for you.
Exactly. Like that's how a lot of silent protagonist things work. Is someone else talks for you.
There's a very, very good example of that. I think it's also in Red War, but you're trying to rescue Cade from something, and he keeps on going to say like, "Oh yeah, tell me you have it. Tell me you know what to do," and your character goes to say it, and then the ghost says it anyways.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why blue ball us like that? Like, come on.
Well, but the thing is that your character does speak at times. They should just make it.
But it's so rare.
So it doesn't blue ball anyone. It doesn't, because no one cares. No one cares about the character talking. It's just that, like, either have them talk. Like, if you have like Master Chief talks the bare minimum of
and
voice protagonist.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like he talks the bare minimum of an interesting story of how a protagonist should speak, and then anything below that, it should just be a silent protagonist, and that's kind of how I feel for Destiny. It should just be nothing.
But
everything should be coming from your
I really do
ghost.
think that the main character they're trying to portray the main character to be the strong silent type,
but they're not silent.
But they're not completely silent. Yeah.
They talk every once in a while.
And some of the things don't even make sense as to why they talk. Like, it doesn't...
I will say, once Forsaken came out, and we learned the Guardian was going to talk once, fucking community exploded. they're like, oh my fucking god, this is such a breakthrough. It's like,
didn't the main character talk during Red War?
No.
No.
What? Really?
Not once.
No, that's why I was
They didn't
so
get
taken.
the voice actor till Forsaken.
That's
What?
That's why I was so
God.
taken aback when I was playing Forsaken for the first time, and I heard him talk, and I was like, I thought it was a silent protagonist. So I was like, what?
No, I remember you saying that. You
Yeah.
were like, I thought our dude was supposed to be silent. I was like, well,
I would say I can
talks
kind of
like
get
4 times.
like some games where you have a silent protagonist and you have them talk once in a while, just for very select circumstances. But Destiny 2 doesn't really fit that at all.
I mean, like
The Forsaken one kind of does, though.
The most iconic, the one line I can think of right now that your character says is in Forsaken, and it's talking about how like, when you just get done with the first mission, you're at Kate's funeral or whatever, and Ikora is talking about how, oh, we need to find Aldrin, we need to kill him, we need to get revenge for the fire team and all of that, and Zavala just goes, no, and our guardian just goes, alright, well, Aldrin's solve is mine, and they walk out of the room. That's literally all that happens, and then
I don't think we speak again.
Yeah, you
Shadowkeep.
don't speak again until like Shadowkeep. When we're talking, I'm not gonna say it because
It doesn't matter. Spoilers don't matter.
The game's been out for like 5 years
Alright,
now.
fine. So like we literally talk to ourselves in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it's the darkness taking the form of us talking to us.
Mm-hmm.
And like they have a they're having a conversation, so we're still not technically hearing our character talk, but it's just like, what's even the point at that point? Like, what's like? Come on.
We do talk a lot in Beyond Light, though.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Every time you get a new fragment, you talk to your ghost a bit. Like, I'm scared. I don't know what to do here.
That's weird.
What? We do?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that.
And same with when Aramis freezes you. Like, there's a lot of like internal talking that goes on with the ghost.
Well, yeah. Or like internal talking.
No,
like
like you can hear it still. Like he's not talking out loud.
Okay, I need to play through that now. I need to play through it again now. I need to go play through on my Warlock now.
The thing that I'm also kind of upset about is like, once you play through, even if Red War did exist, there's no replayability in the game for replaying.
That's why I never really went on any other characters because I only liked my hunter. That's the only class I wanted to play through, and doing it again got repetitive. That's also why in Season of Opulence a couple years back, I don't know if you were playing.
I wasn't.
But it basically put old missions in the game that you could replay, and I never went through any of them because I didn't enjoy it.
What it used to be was that you could do these things called meditations, which was Ikora Ray's like original purpose.
She's useless now.
Was to do these meditations where you would like go back and play specific missions in the campaign.
To like reflect on them.
And lore-wise, it was to reflect on them and to become stronger and stuff based off of it. But honestly, it was just it was just a way to replay the story. And now they have 3 DLCs, which once you complete it, you're done. And you don't get to do the meditations or anything, which is totally something they could have reincorporated into the game.
I know!
You were waiting for so long to say that.
What the fuck?
The thing with that is, I agree with you fully. Sorry. But, the thing about that is, I agree with what you're saying, fully. It just, no replay factor in the game. At all.
Yeah,
going through on a new character is nothing new. You just play the character, and it has slightly different abilities. That's why I didn't enjoy it. Enjoy it unless I'm with him.
Originally I had my hunter and a titan.
Hunters?
No, I had this is like before I met you.
Oh.
I had a hunter and a titan. I had the titan because I wanted to play through Red War and all that again because I actually enjoyed playing Red War.
Yeah, Red War was really good.
But and then like when they took it out, I was just like, oh okay. And then I deleted my first Titan, made a new one, and then deleted the hunter I originally started the game with, and then started a Warlock. So now I have one of all 3 classes.
That's what you should have had in the first place.
I mean,
you shouldn't have 2 of one class. It's kind of useless.
I played Warlock once.
I mean, it's useless to play anything more than one class, but
yeah, because then it's just a bunch of repetitive grinding with 3 different.
I feel like the main purpose of having all 3 is that way when you're doing raids, Is that way
you can bounce between all of them. Yeah.
You can set up a specific like. This person plays warlock. It's kind of like choosing like tank attack and like other RPG games.
You know with them. I'm not sure this is later on. Do we have gameplay and all of that later on?
What?
Yeah, we have gameplay. Right
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, just wait for that.
yeah, that's what I said.
Okay, so another thing I want to talk about for story stuff is that the environment never, in my opinion at least, doesn't fit the story really. Mm-hmm. It does pretty well in Red War. Like Red War did a lot of stuff really well, and honestly, if they like continued that same pace with everything else,
Forsaken was really good too. I will say.
Forsaken's pretty good.
Not as good as Red War, but it's not nowhere near a replacement for Red War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what they're trying to make it.
Are you serious? That's what they're trying to
I would
make
say
it?
one example I have is that Forsaken, like, I think there should be a lot more factions fighting each other because you have, I don't remember what the faction is called that's supposed to be invading the Tangled Shore. The Scorn. They should be fighting the Fallen more, like, throughout the world and stuff like that.
I don't remember what area it is, but there's a specific area where you have, like, Cabal.
EDZ.
No.
In the Tangled Shore.
Oh.
No, you have, like, Cabal, the Elixni, the Fallen, and the Scorn, all three of them in the same immediate area, and they don't fight.
It's not like they're gonna get along.
I don't remember seeing the Scorn there.
They spawn there for missions, and that's about it.
Oh, okay, yeah, but that's my point, is, like, they should be in the environment while you're playing Forsaken.
While we're playing,
Which is also why, like, in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, you can add modifiers, like, you can add event modifiers that were in the game during certain events. So, like, there is the Amber Sky event in Ghost Recon Breakpoint where everything was, like, gassed. So you had, like, this poison gas you'd have a mask filter for, and what you're able to do is you're able to actually activate those events without having to play through the missions or anything like that.
Just have them activated.
Just have them activated for, like, additional gameplay. And I think that would be really cool if you could, like, activate the Scorn, so that way when you're playing in Tangled Shore, you have some Scorn enemies that are fighting as well. And then you could even add loot tables that are specific to the Scorn.
They have that, but all of the weapons that the Scorn drop are Sunset.
Yeah, exactly. So it just kind of falls apart from there.
Or it could even be like a system like Division 2. Because they have that whole same thing where an area gets invaded by the Black Tusk. And it ends up being that the Black Tusk appear in the open world then, and they can actually take over specific missions. And changes the mission. It's not, oh, you have to play a mission in order to encounter the Black Tusk. They're everywhere. They're a constant threat in the world now.
I do think that would be
other factions.
That would be a good idea, because with the Fallen, they're supposed to be scavengers.
But they're the biggest faction in the game.
But they're also the biggest faction in the game.
The most paid attention to. They have the most.
Besides their Cabal.
No, even the Cabal don't stand anywhere near what the Fallen.
Because
the Fallen were the original.
True, yeah.
Original enemy type. When they first released D1, I don't think they were planning on having the other enemy types.
Oh wow.
Which is why Fallen was focused on so much compared to the Cabal taken later on and fucking Taken King.
So, also, outside of, like, story-specific things like the Scorn, I think Tangled Shore is probably one of the best environments in the game.
Agreed.
Because, for one thing, it looks really nice. It adds a lot of story factors that actually make sense. It's not pushed on too hard. It's just there, kind of. So it's an environment in the game that is steady, essentially. But then you have stuff like Nessus, which they just push Vex on it so hard that it's just a clusterfuck of this thing is next, Vex. This thing is Vex, this thing is Vex, this thing is Vex. Like, it's so obviously Vex that you're just like, what is happening here?
And they're like, I think the Elixir is barely even on Nessus, thank you.
Keep it to Fallen. Not everyone.
Yeah, sorry. I'm so used to calling them the Elixir.
I'm just saying.
You rarely see the Fallen on Nessus. Well, like you can see them, but it's like they're isolated to like 1 or 2 areas.
Well, but that makes sense because it's Vex's area.
I mean, when they do, when they are dropped into the area, it's like a group of like 5 or 6.
Well, but that makes sense because it's Vex's planet. Like, so you should mainly be seeing them. It doesn't matter because I mean they're scavengers, so there should be few. There should be very few of them anyway. But like Mars also used to be like primarily Cabal, and that was really cool because you had like stations where entire ships were docked that you could go into.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
You had a bunch of different buildings that the Cabal had built there. It was just like it was heavily Cabal themed, but it wasn't like overdone like Nessus is, where you literally look at a wall and it's like Vex just threw up on it. Like it's
another little. I don't know for sure if this is true, but I'm pretty sure it is. Taken King, when the very first cutscene, there was a fight between Taken Guy and Awoken.
That's you guys, not me.
Awoken, and one of the ships that's crashed on the Tangled Shore, I'm pretty sure is one of the ships from that battle, because it's not a Hive ship, but it's also not any other ship, and it looks very similar to the ship that Daddy Oryx was using. I'm sorry, I have to call him Daddy Oryx. I'll be strike down.
I would say it's
legally have to say that.
Yeah,
it's just nice, like, because Mars is like that in between of, like, Moon is just kind of really bland.
Just all Hive.
It is.
All Hive.
It's Hive and Fallen.
And then you have,
but the Moon isn't even like shown to be Hive. Like it doesn't look like Hive's area from the surface.
The only reason why there's Hive is because of the Crimson. Isn't the Crimson Tower or the Crimson Keep?
One of the fucking two.
It's one.
It's so irrelevant that it doesn't even fucking matter.
It's only they're there because of Shadowkeep.
But it's between that and Nessus, because like Mars looks like it was modified by the Cabal.
Mm-hmm.
Nessus looks like it just is a Vex. And then Moon just doesn't have any theme. It's just the Moon. And Moon doesn't even like have like lower gravity or anything like that. Like you just it used to. It doesn't anymore.
It did in D1. But in D1, back to D1. I don't know if you want me talking this much about D1, but in D1, the Hive actually had a reason to be on the Moon. That's where their home was. That's where their Daddy Oryx was. That's where that's where their commander was. That's where they were based. But now in D2, it's kind of just like the Moon exists.
Yeah.
No, everything that was there in D1 is still there.
So they should have gotten rid of the Moon, not Mars. If
I'm not
sure
if this is a Destiny 1 thing or Destiny 2 thing, because I do know that they have missions from Destiny 1 in Destiny 2.
Yeah.
But the entire thing with Hash Ladoon.
That was in D2.
No, okay. That might be because they were saying that Hash Ladoon was their leader for a little bit.
She was.
So that could be their reason for being there, but it's also like.
But that just adds back into the thing of the story is so loose. It's just
shit doesn't make sense. Shit from D1 doesn't fit to D2, but they make it like what Bryce was saying, or what all of us were saying.
D2 is originally supposed to happen at the same time as D1.
Really?
Like right at the end of D1, I think.
I say it when it came out, it wasn't, but that was the original idea.
D1, where you start in the Cosmodrome. Why the fuck did they add that in as the
why
starting
do you start
point?
in the Cosmodrome?
And then then you get back and the Red Wars happen. You're just like, what the fuck did I miss?
No.
Did I sleep too long?
What happened was originally in Destiny 2, it started out with you flying to the tower. And then they took out the Red War. So they're like, what are we going to do now? Like, we can't just have them just fly to the tower.
And you
could just have them fly to the
So
tower.
they literally just copied the asset from D1 and were like, here.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing. You get the exact same weapon, exact same graphics almost, too. It looks the exact same.
Yeah, that's because it is. It's a completely reused asset. Nothing has changed about
So I literally think they probably just copy-pasted it from D1.
They could have at least upped the graphics a bit.
And you can't even go back. Well, you can't even go back to that very specific area too. Like, you
couldn't in D1 either.
Yeah.
Like where you spawn
get
with all
most
the
of the way
cars
there,
and all
but-
that. You can.
That's one of the areas I'm okay with that you don't go back to.
You actually know you do in D1 during the Rise of Iron.
Yeah, you do.
It's just snowy.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yep. I was like, when? But when you said snow, I was like, oh, yep, that's it.
Snow.
So let's move on from story now, and we're gonna be talking about gameplay. So the first thing I just want to like set for this is because we already been talking about this a little bit about the story, but you just start without the Red War. So you start in the end game as soon as you spawn in, which means that you have all of your abilities already laid out and upgraded. You already have upgraded weapons. You already have upgraded armor. Like you're just given everything off the bat, and then you're just like, here you go, and then it gives you no direction.
It gives you, like, what it does that, like, when you get back to the tower, it goes, oh yeah, no, go visit these people, go visit Zavala.
It doesn't even tell you to do that.
Oh, it doesn't? Well,
No.
you also had characters that you had.
I don't think
When
it did for him.
when I made a new character, it didn't even.
Really?
Yeah, you just kind of get to the tower and it's like, you're at the tower.
Cool.
Have fun.
Oh no! It was like when I made my warlock, they were like, oh, you know, go talk to this person, go talk to that person.
But
all
even
that.
someone who's returning with their account like me should still tell me that.
And then it's and then it's like, all right, and then like, Zavala gives you a quest where you need to do like a certain amount of strikes. Lord Shax gives you a bunch of shit for Crucible.
Basically, just tells you to do
And
stuff.
yeah, and it's like, what if I really just don't want to do some of that stuff like right now? Which is why like I just abandoned those quests on my warlock.
Yep. That's what they're just sitting in the mission, in the uncompleted missions thing in the tracker
And
that's in the tower.
And like the other thing I have a problem with is, as we said, it starts you at 1100 light, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
exactly.
now it does.
It's
That because
like,
it used to be the old max.
Yeah, that used to be the old max. So that means that as soon as you get in and you make a new character or whatever, you instantly can jump into any raid if you want.
Not really. No.
Well, you
Raids are like 13, 20.
Really? Oh.
Well, that's because they vaulted all the old raids.
Yeah, the old raids used to be 1100. Well, I think the
Actually
old raids
no.
used to be like 1000.
Leviathan used to be 750
Yeah, because that was the old
Yeah.
max.
because that was the raid when the game first came out.
But it's like
That
it
didn't
just
even come out till like
now
2 months
it's
after.
you start at this light level and it's just you have access to most everything in the game at that point, and it's
Everything that isn't like released
Yeah.
recently.
and it's you're given no directions, so it's you just have access to almost everything and you aren't told any idea of where to go.
And then you see something, it's like, oh, this is 1100, I could go to this. Buy the Forsaken DLC. And they're just
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's one thing I gotta get into. And there's gonna be a minute till we're
like-
off of this.
Sit back and relax.
The fact that Forsaken is put as the main story campaign right now, and you still have to fucking buy it. So you're paying $60 it's free for the game, but then to actually play a fucking story you need to pay $40.
No,
so why not?
On
me
Xbox
finish.
specifically, you can if you get it through Game Pass, you just get everything for free.
That's Game Pass.
But that's
though.
you still have to buy.
You have to
Game
buy
Pass.
Game Pass.
True.
Then.
And the thing I'm trying to get at is, why make the game free if you're still gonna make them pay to have a story experience? And at that point, it's just a shooter. It's just any old fucking shooter that you can get off the market for free, and that's most of those ones on the market for free are 10 times better.
Yeah,
Because
because
shitty fucking Crucible and fucking.
anger.
I
Because
genuinely
it fucking pisses me off.
It's because
I mean-
everything in Destiny 2 is literally just DLC at this point.
I
Or in the
genuinely
vault.
do want to see someone try to not buy any of the expansions and try to
Kimmy
get to the
Cakes.
max.
Kimmy Cakes. He's done it on like 3 different occasions.
Really, where he just hasn't bought any of
Yeah.
it, and even got to max light.
Yeah. Kimmy Cakes is a fucking god.
Okay, noted. Send it to me later.
I was saying you can definitely do it. It's just not as interesting.
It's just
It's boring. It's
repetitive.
just the same shit. It's basically just Crucible.
It's like
over and over.
some RPGs where people do the challenges of get to max level in the starting area.
Yeah,
It's possible. It just takes forever and isn't interesting.
like you can do it, but would you? No. One thing about the game though, before we start bashing it some more, is that the game is pretty, and the music for the game is pretty good. I mean,
The music.
it's basically Halo music. 'Cause it's literally the exact same person who made Halo music and Destiny 2 music, and then just
Martin
didn't change
O'Donnell,
it very
right?
much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I think he got kicked off the team recently.
No, I
No,
think
he
that
left the team.
He left.
That's my boy.
Good choice.
On the bigger
Because
thing.
he
No,
left
he
for
left, for
Halo
Halo
Infinite. Yeah. But yeah, so the game is beautiful. The game's music is really good. I mean, it sounds really close to Halo, so that's why it's
design is really good. Like how your character looks, how others oppositions look.
Oh, so you can because you can create your own character and stuff, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
So
everything is nice about the game, like pretty wise. Everything else is shit. It's like girls, basically.
wow.
It's like when you go out like back of a new
Hi,
business and they have like that really nice looking new dumpster, but then you look inside and it's still trash.
Boo.
I like the girl analogy better, where they
That's
cover
actually
themselves
a
with makeup.
very good representation of Destiny. Holy shit.
Literally. You alright there? You got it?
No, but to add on to some gameplay stuff, they're trying. I think they're adding crossplay. Like they're planning on doing
Fucking
it.
finally.
But it's not. It's gonna be for strikes and raids only.
No.
The game's gonna be completely
The
crossplay?
beta was gonna be strikes until they actually released it, like the fucking dumbasses they are.
They actually released it a week early. So
way earlier than that.
Way early? Really? Oh wow.
It's coming out in 2022. That's when crossplay is officially coming out.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, it's like EFT beta right there. So the main thing I want to talk about, like gameplay wise, is that it isn't centered around any actual type of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have ability based games, which is something like Warframe, Overwatch. And then you also have first-person shooters, so you have something that's more like Valorant, where it's a lot about the weapons, but you also have some like secondary abilities that you can use to help you, and are still really good. And then you also have the tactical sense, like Siege, where you still have the gadgets and stuff that are really important, but you have to be really specific on how you play them, and it's still really impactful with the weapons.
Let me add something into that. I swear to fucking God if you fall. But gunplay in that game, I will admit, is really fucking good in my opinion. Gunplay is really fun. But the fact of the matter is Crucible, just abilities. Nothing. It's abilities, like it's been said before, it is ability spam simulator, the game.
Yeah.
That's all Crucible is.
That's all it is.
That sounds right.
Like, there's nothing else. Like, gunplay, you could be really fucking accurate. You could be like Shroud or something and still get clapped in Crucible by a level
I remember
3.
watching a video of Crucible, and it literally just looked like a bunch of flashbangs were going off of different colors.
Yeah, that's literally how it feels sometimes. And then and then like when people start gaining their supers, that's when shit either starts to hit the fan for your team, or that's when you're like, I can't move. I'm lagging that hard, and it's just like.
I say, like, for the game, I feel like it just can't decide if you're like overpowered or underpowered.
Yeah.
Because like it feels like you should be really powerful because you have some more speed to you, but you're not. You don't have as much speed as you would need to have like an overpowered character, or overpowered. That's like a weird thing like Doom. You're overpowered, but you can still be taken down and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you still have to be careful with how you play. But then like it's also fast enough where it's like it can't be a slow tactical like move into the situation in a specific way type thing, because you still jump in and bash everything, but you're slow doing it. And so it feels weird because like reloading, you're super slow at doing it. Like reloading a shotgun, like you're reloading it like you're in World War II trying to like get that shit into there without jamming it. And then like the hand cannons, you have to like quick. Yeah, it's just super.
Or
with Ace's Spade, not Sweet Business, no, not really.
That's a single one.
Because you have to like do that.
He's talking about the whole thing.
On average, assault rifles are probably one of the quickest reloading and best for PvE experience.
I would say it's just like the game just feels slow for what it is, and it shouldn't.
It should feel quicker, more smooth.
It definitely does feel like a very, very fast-paced game.
Like it should be, like COD.
I say if they made the pace faster, like if they made it so you don't have to min max in order for you to actually use your abilities more than once a minute, then like I feel like the game would feel a lot better. Like I can understand min maxing with all of the systems of being able to use like your tactical ability, your ultimate ability, and everything faster and stuff like that. I can understand having that, but the fact that if you don't have any of that, then you're just done for. Like you can't use your abilities except for when you're first entering the fight.
And that's true, but at the same time, I'm a player, and you can ask Michael. I do not like max anything out for my everything's just average. And I'm perfectly fine.
I try to keep everything at like 40 to 50 range. But the only thing that I have right now on my hunter that's at 60 is my intellect, which is how fast my super charges.
No ramps.
I'm saying, like, you need min-maxing in games, but you shouldn't need it for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you want to go into,
you shouldn't need it to do something.
If you want to go into, like, raids and stuff, yeah, you want to have the game make you min-max. You want to, like, have that challenge of, I need to set up my character specific for this raid. But it shouldn't be, oh, if I want to actually play the game, I need to min-max.
Yeah.
For people like me that are just trying to play casual but still be pretty good, it's annoying.
I would say, luckily though, like with the enemies, like you don't feel like you get overwhelmed with enemies in the game either. Like I feel like the enemies in general are fairly balanced.
Yeah.
There are a couple where it's just like I feel like it just get randomly one shot out of nowhere. I'm just
Gladiators.
I'm just like what? I was like what happened? I was really confused, but I do think that the enemies should be able to do more damage to the opposing faction because they literally do like nothing to each other. Like they just don't.
They burn like it just feels
it's
like it's like sort of like yeah like that.
Die. I would say, and then
know.
a bunch of the factions are like have the same exact archetypes.
Mm-hmm.
Like because you have things that explode, you have things that shoot at you, and then you have things that melee you. And then those are basically the same thing. Like, I can understand the, whatever the shadow ones are. I don't remember what they're called.
Taken,
that's it. Like, I can understand that because they are basically, like, just shadow versions of the
other factions, basically.
Yeah, of all the factions combined. Like, that makes sense. And that's cool. But the fact that, like, the Fallen and the Vex basically have the same exact troops, but with like
different skins,
different skins and slightly different weak points,
and different movement and all of that.
It's just like even the movement is still
it's very very slightly different.
Can I say something though? Every single unit unit technically has a captain, and the captains are dead even the entire way. Scorn captains exact same as Fallen, which makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a little bit of
Minotaurs,
sense.
exact same as Fallen captains. Hive Knights, exact same as Fallen captains. Everything traces back to Fallen captains because that's the main.
That was supposed to be the main villain.
Yeah, and then they're pushed aside for the fucking Cabal and Vex.
I'll say most of Destiny is just copy pasting. It's just it's all reusing assets.
Copy pasting.
So it's really annoying, but I mean. I can understand it for some stuff. Like I said, the Taken, that's pretty cool, and that really works. A lot of games do that sort of thing. But then it doesn't make sense for the other factions. Like they're basically just reskinned.
Mm-hmm.
So, like every single faction has to have something that explodes when it gets near you. Like why? There's no point.
I think the
Fallen don't. That's the only one that don't.
Yeah.
I could have sworn the Fallen do, because the Fallen have the little
exploding
droids.
shanks.
Oh yeah, the exploding shanks, yeah.
And that wasn't added till Forsaken.
Really? I thought it was before then. I could have sworn it was.
Yeah, I remember seeing. Well, no.
Because I remember seeing them before I played
they're not
the
in Red War.
DLCs.
They're not in Red War.
Well, I'm just talking about in general in gameplay, not even just in campaigns.
Like when you, me, and Mulder were doing strikes.
No, I mean before Forsaken even came out when I played the game.
Oh, okay.
The game before Forsaken.
I could have sworn they were, because I definitely wasn't surprised when I saw them.
They were not in D1. D1 had more
I know they weren't in D1.
variability with enemy types. Everything wasn't the same.
I'll say it should just be more like Division 2 archetypes where it's just like, you have the same names. Like, we call the ones with like the lightning bolt symbols above their heads either rushers or berserkers, one of the two. You usually call them one or the other, but they all have different things. Like the Black Tusk have an AR, and then when they start getting close to you, they pull out a shotgun. For the what are they called? The AFKast. They will run up to you and explode. And that's the only exploding type in the game. My goodness.
Well,
suicide bombers.
Kind of.
You have weird archetypes. And then there's another one that will just run at you with a baton. So it's just like you can have the same archetypes, but they should behave differently, and they should have different weaponry, and it should fit their faction more. Like the Fallen should have more stuff. Like the like some of the stuff actually looks like Fallen related things because they look like they actually built it into something instead of just like having it. Like you need to, because since they're scavengers, they should have more like rusty equipment, things that don't work as well, things that look like they were like strapped together with duct tape. Like you want that sort of feel to the game because that makes sense for them. And then the Cabal, you want to have like perfectly manufactured
advanced
things,
looking stuff, like very
And that's
streamlined.
what the Cabal has, but then the Fallen don't. All their shit looks just as new as the Cabal.
Yeah, I think the Cabal is like the most like
Fleshed out
character, or not character, faction that's in the game that like in terms of looks and behavior and stuff like that. Like it actually works for them really well. And they're also different than most of the factions in the game too. So because they have like their shield instead of the typical. I guess the Hive have their guy who has a shield as well. But
What are they? No, Knights. There we go.
Knights
Yeah.
occasionally have shields.
yeah, they'll
what are
sometimes
they?
put down that shield. But yeah, it's nice to have different enemies in the game, not just retextured enemies. Because that's what makes the game repetitive and not replayable. Another thing is that I hate that Destiny forces you to play with other people. Like, it's not an MMO, so stop forcing me to play with other people in just a small open world area that's in the game. Like, I don't care about these people. I'm not gonna revive them. They can revive themselves in 5 seconds. I'm not gonna go fucking heal them. Like, and I hate, like, joining strikes where it forces you to play with other people. You can't try to solo a strike. And
Even though you very easily could for most of them.
exactly.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like it should be like in Warframe, you're able to choose if you want to play online, if you want to play with friends only, or if you want to do a private session. You should be able to do the same thing in Destiny 2. I think that would make the game so much better. And that does mean that public events aren't as good, but you can also just rename them from public events to world events, because that's exactly what they are.
Can I get into a rant about open world now?
Go for it.
Let me finish. So open world is debatably the worst fucking idea they ever had in the life cycle of D2. Like, they went from... It was a decent...
Was D1 open world?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very, very lightly. Not as much as D2. But
It was like
D2
directed open world.
Mhm.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
D2 has a lot of open world elements, but it doesn't execute them correctly. So you have stuff like public events that no one goes to because everyone just goes into the world, gets their mission, and then fucking leaves.
So you go there to do bounties, to complete bounties. That's
And
the
even
only
then,
time
the
you do
bounties
public
there are
events.
shit. And then the actual open worlds themselves are boring because you have like a group of 5 enemies over here, walk about half a mile, group of 5 enemies over here, and then maybe every once in a while there'll be a faction fighting each other, and then there's like not an hour, like 20, 30-ish minutes between spawns. So you're just sitting there waiting. It's like, it's not a good way to grind XP. Open world is fucking useless.
They're
It
also
does nothing to the game. I'm talking mainly about the EDZ. That's the picture in my mind.
yeah.
And it still sticks for most of them.
No, the main landing area for EDZ, like if you wipe out all
I
the
know.
Cabal, they just constantly send more.
They're not doing anything either. Like they just kind of stand around and wait for someone to attack them. Like if they're not in an event, like they should actually be doing something.
Mhm.
Like, the hive could be trying to dig out a new hive, or trying to build a new hive of some sort.
Yeah.
You could have the Fallen actually scavenging a ship.
One thing to put in.
And so you can have them actually doing different things that then you can get some rewards out of. And
like the Cabal securing an area or going on patrol.
Yeah.
It seems like something that they would do.
And then you can even like put in world bosses as well. Like they already sort of do. Like I've seen a couple that are a bit stronger, but they need to have specific
Randy
world
the
bosses that will come in and try to attack you that you can get some kind of reward out of.
Yeah. And one thing I gotta go with public events like the drill and the glimmer drills, and
Yes.
when you fail those, nothing happens to the world, nothing changes, nothing at all. It just disappears.
Oh no, you failed it. Okay, whatever. Bye bye.
There's no consequences for failing, and you still get a reward too.
Yeah.
You could literally just sit there, shoot one bullet, and then leave, and still get at least a decent reward. You get a couple of
And
materials
like
from the planet.
my major, like in my opinion, my major issue with public events is that
They exist.
that and like even if you didn't participate in it, you can still like go over and pick up the loot.
No, you can't. You have
Oh,
to
you
at least
can't?
fire one bullet near the public event.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
You can't just get rewards from being there.
Oh, no, no.
It finishes, you stand at the crate, you shoot a bullet into the air, allows you to open it.
I actually can do that sometimes.
What the?
Jeez. I say world events are a smart idea, but the way they incorporate them and also call them public events, which sounds stupid, it just
One more
makes it
big
bad.
thing. Open worlds have separate lobbies. So if you like go to the map and look to see a public event and it's pretty far away, so you try to fast travel to it, throw you into a different lobby, the public event doesn't exist anymore.
Really?
Yes.
Yep.
It's the
Really?
most annoying thing, because you're like, oh, it's pretty far away, that's a far sparrow ride, and I don't know the land that well. So I'll just fast travel to the thing near it. Never mind, doesn't exist anymore. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, actually, I think I have.
It
had
should
that
keep
before.
you on the same server. It shouldn't try to server hop you
But
if
it
you're fast
doesn't.
traveling.
It
Especially
throws
if it's
you to a
going to
different
show
ship.
you timed events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that happened with.
Or if it's like has 20 seconds left before it starts and you don't have the time to ride across the map on your Sparrow.
Like, I feel like you should be able to choose to swap servers, but it shouldn't force you to swap servers like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I just... The fact that it also forces you to play with other people also means that you're always online, and that means that you can't pause the game. And for some games this works, like Warframe it works because you go in, because the world
waiting
is the
area.
mission, so you go and you do the mission and then you're done and you're at a break. But in Destiny 2, you're just... There's constantly enemies that are spawning in the open world. Like, you can't just go somewhere in the open world and pause the game for a little bit.
Actually, there is. Where most of the vendors are in the world, like Devon K. You can sit up there. And
Oh, I mean, you can go there, but you can't, like, just, like, hide in a corner and pause the game for a little bit, and then when you come back, unpause the game, and then go out and do stuff.
Yeah, you have to specifically go somewhere to do that. The thing with solo queuing is it's fine for, like, about an hour. But once, it's kind of like skill-based matchmaking, in a way. After an hour, you kind of realize, I'm with people I shouldn't be playing with. I need a team to get through and beat these people. Or for strikes, there's a couple of more difficult ones that are actually semi-hard that you couldn't solo.
You know, like,
But without communication, you're just sitting there like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? We can't win this if we don't have a team that's communicating in any way.
Especially in Gambit, especially like higher levels of gameplay.
Not even in
Gambit.
higher levels, just Gambit in general.
You would get into a game, and you're like, okay, no, I'm confident in this team. Like, they look like they know their shit or whatever.
They don't.
And we get into a game, one guy goes AFK. That person over there isn't helping the team at all.
The other guy's eating his food.
And the other dude is just over there, just like, oh hey, I got how many motes do I got? I got max amount of motes I can carry. Let me throw myself at the enemies.
And then there's the thing with
or like invasion portal gets active and
me.
Person with like 15 motes just goes wee and then they die instantly.
So then there's the thing about invading, which I personally enjoy, but there's a reason for that
Yeah,
I'm
because
decent at it.
you're designated.
But then it's a thing with, if you don't have a full team, and if there's even one person on the team that is not communicating, you're fucked. Because if I'm on a team with you guys and someone else invades instead of me, and they get killed instantly, we have no leverage whatsoever. We didn't do shit by invading. We just wasted a fucking invasion. So with having a full team, invasions are the most important thing to do because of the fact that...
And this is why I call you, me, and Mulder, like, the dream team. Because
Black Mask doesn't exist because he's...
Yeah, Mask hasn't been on in a while.
I say, so now moving past, like, playing with other people, we have exotics that are in the game. Exotics seem to be, like...
A good idea.
Iffy idea.
Because, I mean, they're like Division 2, where, like, they have specific and unique abilities, but they're also like Division 2, where there are some that are so shit and so bad, and there's others that are, like, way too OP.
Jotun! Time to get on a rant about that!
Go ahead, go for it.
Jotun, okay, so, for those of you that don't play Destiny, Jotun is a fusion rifle type thing that charges up, and when you shoot it, it shoots a exploding projectile that kind of tracks in one-shots as infinite range.
Oh, it tracks?
Yeah, it tracks.
I didn't know that.
It tracks.
Just Jotun specifically it tracks, or for all of them?
No, just Jotun.
What the fuck?
And the community has complained to developers plenty of times, millions of times in fact. They've nerfed it once. And people have said, at this point, it's like the Telesto in the game, which is another fusion rifle. That breaks the game every time they give it an update. They need to remove the Jotun. It's simple as that, but they refuse to because they think it's a cool exotic, and if they remove it, people will be pissed. I promise you, Bungie, no one will be mad. No one will miss it.
Actually, no. Only the sweaty tryhards that are the scum of the earth.
The people who abuse it would be the ones who are mad.
Yeah, it's not even the sweaty tryhards that use it. I have not seen a tryhard once use the Jotun. It's always the people that suck ass at Gambit. No offense, not Gambit, but suck ass at Crucible. So someone like you.
Even I don't use it because I know that too, and I wouldn't use it either because I know how it feels to go against it, and I'm probably still gonna do shit with it, but like
it's. There's plenty of exotics that are like that, and I bet you've done your research on it. There's plenty of exotics that just break the game and they need to be vaulted, and then there's weapons that are just legendaries that shouldn't be vaulted that are because they think they're too overpowered.
I don't think the solution to the game should ever be vault stuff.
Yeah, I don't think
it
shouldn't.
It should be fix the weapons. Don't vault it. Don't be like, oh, it's too strong. Vault.
Well, I was talking to Maldor about it, which is someone they obviously don't know. But me and him were talking. We're like, honestly, the best way to nerf that weapon, take the tracking away, or make it a lot less. And just make it a precision weapon.
Make it to where it doesn't
like the
track
Queenbreaker's
as hard.
No, maybe not even track at all. Make it like the Queenbreaker's bow, where it takes precision in lining up the shots for you to kill someone. That's why the Queenbreakers is so popular for like montages and shit, because it makes for good shots. But if you have a weapon that's a special ammo weapon, which means you spawn with 2 shots, that you get every time you die, it just makes it stupid. Or keep it how it is and put it to the legendary, or put it to the heavy slot.
I say exotic weapons all the time always just also break the game. Like, not like that they're OP or they're weak. It's just like they quite literally break the game. Like, there's something wrong where it glitches out or it causes the person to crash if they use it. Like,
there was I don't remember the name of exotic, but I know it's a bow. Where like if you aim down sight and pull, you can see people through walls.
That's not overpowered though.
No, and like it seems like a lot of people would use it. No one uses it
because the actual bow itself is trash, but its intrinsic is really fucking good. But at the same time, hunters have that same exact ability, but it's better because if you are crouching and get a headshot and it kills, you go invisible and you can see through walls for about 10 seconds.
Oh, really? Is that for one of the subclass things?
Yeah, it's Void.
Really?
It's the Spectral Blades. If you crouch and get a headshot, you can see through walls.
Noted.
No, don't you abuse that?
No, because like there's shit here that I didn't even know that even existed. Like that right there.
You can tell I'm a diehard Destiny fan because I know fucking.
And you still suck.
Ooh. I would say
Plus 1v1.
one thing I really like about exotic weapons is that like you actually, for some of them at least, you actually have quests that you can do in order to get them.
Like the Risk Runner one.
Yeah, which is a really good way of like introducing people into exotic weapons if they made it more obvious of how to start the exotic weapon quests.
Because you kind of just get it out of, specifically for Risk Runner, you just get it by completing Forsaken. That's literally all. That's literally how
The
you
thing
get it.
about Rat King is it's like one of those quests that's really cryptic, and you actually have to search up if you don't know what the fuck's going on.
That was actually the last time I played Destiny 2 was trying to get the Rat King.
Rat King was fun to get. Really, really fun to get.
You know, I remember when I first met you and we started playing Destiny. That's what we were trying to do.
No, I was doing it with a girl.
Last
I
time-
remember specifically because she had a huge crush on me.
Last time before I stopped playing for a while and then returned playing with you guys was me doing the Rat King, because that was before they added any more exotics to the game.
I don't even know how many exotics are in the game.
Too many.
Inventory doesn't load quick enough.
Yeah, I would say the inventory will actually tell you. I think there's like 500.
And how many of them have catalysts?
There's not 500 exotics.
Oh,
I-
really?
I'm pretty sure
There's nowhere near.
Does every exotic have a catalyst?
No.
Oh.
I'm looking this up.
Because I know that Ace of Spades.
Are you looking it
has
up right now,
one.
Bryce?
Yep.
Okay.
48 exotic weapons.
Yeah, there's nowhere near 500.
I totally saw five. Maybe I'm just thinking items. Like total.
Yeah.
Actually, there's 50. As of 2016, there was 50 exotic weapons. And then it was down to 48 in 2019.
Because they
Wow.
They vaulted
vaulted some.
Yeah, I might have just been thinking items overall, because you can get like exotic ships and stuff
Exotic
like that.
ships, exotic sparrows, exotic armor, exotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So exotics are definitely an interesting thing, but it's weird because it's just like, I feel like for Division 2, you almost always want to have one exotic weapon.
Mm-hmm.
In Destiny 2, it just feels like it's another weapon. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily feel like you should have an exotic weapon, which I
You
think.
should always have an exotic armor, though, because armors actually
Yeah.
change the way you play.
But like I think that would just be better, because that's typically the idea behind exotic weapons in games, is that way you always use one of those and then a couple other just regular
Like the three
things.
exotics that I'm most comfortable with is Ace of Spades, Sweet Business, and Vigilance Wing, and each of my characters have all three of those. Or like my Hunter has the Ace of Spades, my Titan has the Sweet Business,
And your
my
Warlock
Warlock
has-
has Vigilance Wing. And like those three are my favorite. So that's why I have them on my three separate characters. I don't really swap them over to other characters at all, because I don't think it's needed.
Next section.
Yeah.
So,
Do you want to start it?
yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Very
what's the
much
next
so.
segment?
Because there's a lot of good things to say about this that I don't know if you researched on. The thing about the inventory doesn't load quick enough. Yes, at times, but it's mainly on console. On PC, even with some really shitty fucking specs, it can load like basically instantly. But on console, it still takes forever.
The
No
thing
matter-
is that it should be preloaded at
yes,
all times.
it should, but then there's shit getting added to your inventory like every 20 seconds because you're picking shit up from the ground, and they can't really preload all that shit.
They preload it in tons of other games.
Yeah,
Why can't
like-
Destiny.
Because it's Bungie.
I say because like so many games have it where you're able to do quick actions and stuff inside of your inventory. Like mid-fight, you're able to switch stuff around. For Destiny 2, it feels like I'm doing that, and I'm like rushing against time, just staring at it, waiting for it to load.
Yeah.
It adds
It's
to
like
the challenge.
It's like a thing where
There you go.
where like the camera just zooms in, you're sweating, you hear like your heartbeat racing, and it's just like,
Just staring at a loading screen, or like several. 'cause
You
it has
see
a
your- you
loading
see your
screen
health
for every
going
single
down.
thing.
You're just taking damage while you're in the menu, just waiting.
Doesn't even show you your health. or
Yeah,
anything
you just
when
see
you're
your
in the
screen
menu.
flash and you can hear
You don't
it.
even see the flashes or anything. It's
No,
literally
no, no,
just your
Yeah, you
menu.
can.
you know,
I
you
see the
can-
next
you
section.
can-
I'm
Oh,
happy.
You get
I
like
must
you
just
see
be
you see just like say like you get hit from one side and it just goes. That's
Yeah,
what-
no,
that-
it doesn't flash, it shakes.
it kind
but-
of like shakes, but there's also
Yeah.
like kind of like a little bit of flashing.
Yeah.
Alright, this is all you guys, because I don't do Crucible.
So stasis. when Stasis first came out, it was basically, if you don't have it, you're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Is it still that way?
in a way, yes.
Sounds bad. Okay. I'm the Crucible guy. I ran. So Crucible, it is a fucking mess. I mentioned this earlier in the podcast, but it's ability spam simulator in the game. Weapon, gunplay, doesn't matter. As I said, you could be Shroud and still get fucking clapped by level 2 because he threw an ability at you and you can't do shit about it. They've had an ability to break the game multiple times. An example of this would be on Warlock with their mini supernova when Forsaken came out. Their mini supernova that had middle tree. That was an ability,
okay.
melee. It broke the game for like almost half a fucking year because they didn't want to fix it.
What did it do?
You throw it out and basically track someone.
Oh,
Like the
fine.
Jotun, except way more powerful because it was an ability on cooldown.
Yeah.
So if you're going on a huge streak and couldn't find special ammo, you're basically screwed with the Jotun. But if you're going on a huge streak and you have that ability, you're fine. Yeah, that's literally what it was. It was just you throw it out and then it tracks someone. They fucking die. You couldn't run from it.
Was it a grenade or the melee ability?
No, melee.
What the
You couldn't run from it. You couldn't hide from it. Like you physically couldn't do. If it got thrown at you, you're dead. Grenades. There's no good ones. There are literally no good grenades for PvP at all. They all suck ass equally.
Well, at least that's good.
It's sad that a melee has a better range thing in
Yes.
PvP than.
yeah.
It's fucking depressing. Melees, 90% of the time, overpowered as shit. And then the class abilities don't fucking do anything.
And the
Warlock class ability, fucking useless. Hunters, kind of useful.
Titan
Dodge is just so slow.
Titan is more like, oh, you want to block, well, not like block a sightline, but like block bullets from going
Or
to
block a
certain area,
super.
or block a super. You just put the shield down. Like, I don't really see people using. I used to use it, but the little half shield.
Oh yeah.
It'll make the reload faster. That's all it will do.
Titan probably has the best class ability for PvP because it lets you win melee battles. Place it down, they get damaged passively by the shield, and then you just don't get shit.
Yeah.
So, there's that, and then there's only one good dodge to use in the Hunter for PvP. And that's the Gambler's Dodge, which is the one where you recharge your melee ability.
Yeah.
The reason that's good is because you actually change your hitbox during it. You go down into
really?
a dive roll, yeah.
Well, yeah, because you move your character.
It's like the Shadow Step in D1, you remember that?
Yeah.
The fucking Shade Step God. It's like that, except it's on a huge cooldown, which means it's basically useless. And then there's the gunplay. Heavies don't fucking exist. They just...
Yeah,
it is so
they
rare.
drop, but it's like, they only drop like, what, halfway through a game?
Yes. It is...
And then even at that, it's only one drop.
It is so ridiculous. You have a really, like... Putting an exotic in your heavy slot is like putting a condom on with a hole in it.
That's actually a very good way to look at it.
It's useless.
That's a very good
it
way to look
takes the
at
point
it.
away because you don't get ammo for it.
That was an amazing description.
And then there's a whole thing when they originally had the game, which I actually kind of enjoyed this, having two primaries. It was fun. It made the gunplay playable, and it felt
so
fun
like
in
you
Crucible. And then they changed it back to the D1 system, and then shotguns.
And then shotguns.
And then shotguns.
Shotguns.
I
Nothing else is used on console except for shotguns.
I say
'Cause no one can
yeah.
use
the
snipers.
problem with a lot of PvP/PvE games is that there's like it just doesn't usually work out. Like
Yeah.
Conclave and Warframe isn't that fun. You have Destiny
even
2,
is
which
Conclave.
is shit. You have Division with I forget what it's called, but
Dark
it had
Zone.
a PvP game mode that
Well,
was
you have-
also terrible.
You have Dark Zone, Light Zone, and then Conflict.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, Conflict's bad. Dark Zone works because it's PvPvE and it's not required to attack players.
Yeah. That's why he likes Gambit so
And
much.
you know you're going into the match knowing that people might have something that's better than you and can destroy you instead. But
Yeah.
the problem with like PvP game modes is that you don't know what you're gonna get. Like you don't know what's gonna happen. And I think the only thing that has been good with a PvE/PvP system is Ghost Recon.
Yeah, with Ghost War.
It's because
and-
Ghost War keeps everything even, because you have actual classes that you choose from. Everything is completely
It's
separate.
not based on what you have in the PvE game mode. It's you have
Yeah.
to unlock stuff through the PvP game mode
or
itself.
like your gear score or light level. Or
And
whatever
then let me
it is in
go
the
on
game.
something about supers. Supers. So you know how you said min-maxing earlier?
Yeah.
You can basically make it so you get your super in the first minute and a half of the game, if you are good. And that leaves for huge streaks that are just not ended because they just keep training supers
Yeah,
and keep
it's-
training abilities.
It's like some Call of Duty games when you just used to be able to change score streaks.
Yeah. And then it leaves the people that, like me, for example, that don't really give a shit about the actual stats and just have them all about even. No chance against those type of players because the fuck am I supposed to do? I
Yeah.
don't get my super till halfway through the game.
I'd say min-maxing should not have anything to do with PvP.
Yes, it should be taken out of PvP, but it's the biggest factor in it. And then we get to the. Were you gonna say something?
I was gonna bring up stasis again because
Oh,
I didn't get what I was saying.
I can bring up stasis. Boy, can I ever bring up stasis. So as he said, came out really fucking overpowered. We found some counters for it, like Well of Radiance, but that's just useless in PvE or PvP. And then it's just specifically Hunter's stasis is fucking bad. Worst.
No, in my opinion, the best part about the hunter stasis is that
long-lasting effect.
is that it lasts a long time. Like
it's overpowered for that.
In like John and I were in Gambit one time, and like someone threw
I
that
invaded.
someone invaded. Well, he invaded. Someone invaded us. They threw down their stasis super,
I threw down
and-
mine too.
and I was outside of it, but I thought that like once they were dead, it'll disappear. So me not remembering where it was, I walked into it and then died.
Yeah.
And I had the 15 motes that could have gotten us to our primeval to
And then
actually start the final
Another
thing to win.
thing about stasis, especially hunters in specific, is how long it lasts. There is no super in the game that lasts as long and does as much damage as the stasis hunter. And what are they going to do about it?
Nothing.
They're going to buff it. They buffed it.
They
Really?
buffed it?
They,
Really?
for a little bit, he was buffed so when you passed the super, you were completely invincible and you couldn't get shot down.
What? It's
So they did that, and then they immediately realized their mistake and actually nerfed it a fair bit
I
and
see.
made it so you have half the health.
They got
usually
confused and nerfed
long-lasting
Blackbeard
things. Usually long-lasting things in games are usually low damage. So
Yeah.
it's like
Instant kills you.
It's there. It's there so that way if something happens to go in there, they take damage, so they're easier to kill. It's not like, oh, this is just going to be this thing that's going to sit here, and if you go anywhere near it, it's a death barrier. And you're like,
no.
That's how it is for stasis.
And with the hunter stasis, it slows you down too as you're in it.
And you can't
So-
use gamblers dodge
and you
out
can't-
of it.
and
You
you-
can't
yeah.
put shield up. You can't. Healing rift doesn't do shit because
And then
healing rift is horrible.
And then if you're in there for long enough, it freezes you. So
Completely.
then you have to double tap B to get out of it. And then the animation of you getting out of it takes so fucking long.
And then you die.
to where like once
It's
you
a
get out of it, you're
guaranteed
dead.
death.
And then now I can get onto the whole other fucking classes stasis. Do you want to talk about this or do you want me to? Because I don't have as much
Is it
experience.
Titan? It's a Titan.
I'm gonna start with Warlock Titan next.
I haven't used Warlock.
Okay, so I'll go with Titan. Not Titan,
no,
Warlock.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So Warlocks is basically like a whole thing. You shoot the thing forward, it freezes someone, you throw your fucking fist up in the air like Black Lives Matter, and then they die. It's so fucking stupid for Crucible, because when you're playing comp especially, you'll throw it into a group, because most of the time you're pretty grouped up or like around each other.
yeah.
Freezes you all, one button, all dead. Round over. Next round. It's so stupid and overpowered, and they still haven't fixed it. June, you fucking idiot.
Jeez.
But then,
So mean.
and then the healing rift. This was the one time the healing rift's ever been useful in the history of Destiny 2. When you'd place it down, it would put a sentry up. It broke the game for about a month, and
Well, that's what that
it's still
was?
not fixed. It was out of the game. It's still out of the game. They haven't put it back in because they haven't
No,
fixed it yet.
I remember when I saw
Logged
people
in
do
once
that.
it-
It's
Yeah,
starting
it
to sound
was
like
that.
Siege with Clash.
But,
You go on
with-
Titan now. Have fun.
Personally, I do think that the Titan one is very, very OP close quarters.
It's just very OP in general. All stasis.
True. The melee is like you kind of just thrust forward and punch something, and it's an instant. Like it's an instant kill. Like
Oh, can I say something really quick?
Yeah, sure.
The fact that when you slam, you place walls down, that frees people that touch them immediately.
And like you slam, like you jump, like you can slam your hand down or whatever, and these three things of ice go through, and then just these giant ice blocks come out of the ground.
I've seen that a lot when we were playing together.
Yeah, when we were playing, and if like I've seen shit when it's not even close to it, and it still gets frozen.
And then you slam and it kills them.
And I slam again and it kills them.
And then
and the standard grenade that Stasis gives you is basically that Titan thing, but it's a row.
Can we backtrack just a little bit to Crucible, or not Crucible gameplay?
Yeah, sure.
Damn it, I already forgot it.
Okay, never mind.
Going on. But yeah, no, it's just
Shit.
You can have aspects for Stasis. Like they can change your class ability. No, can they change your class ability?
Yes. No.
Yeah.
Kind of.
They can kind of change. They can kind of change your class ability.
Like
they can change your
slam for
grenade.
others.
Yeah, and they can change your grenade. You know, they add it onto it. So like Hunter can do the dodge, but if they still have their dodge ability.
No, they don't even have to have their dodge ability.
Really?
If you're in the air for like. If you do it, you have like a 2-second cooldown.
I do know that it causes that having that thing for stasis causes the dodge ability to be recharged quicker. Like I've had things where I was able to, like I used it, got in the cover to reload, and then I had it again. Within 15 seconds.
So
Jeez.
I remember what I was gonna backtrack for now. The whole thing of classes not being kind of even at all. The fact that Hunter is the most popular class, but the worst, and then Titan is the best, and the Warlock is just somewhere in the middle.
A fistful of crayons down the gullet.
And then
That's
they
what
haven't done
Titan is.
anything to nerf Titan ever. They've nerfed the shit out of Hunter for God knows what fucking reason. We don't.
And then Warlock is just there.
We're not good. Our Hunters are debatably the worst class with mobility and supers and everything. They still nerf us. We get the most nerfs because we're the biggest player base. Titan, really good. Really big, kind of decent sized player base.
Hunters are like Russia during World War II. Throw enough people at the bullets, they'll eventually run out of bullets.
That's literally
That's
what
fair.
Hunters are. We just overmass numbers, that's it. Okay, we can go back to Crucible now. I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way before I forgot about it.
I'd say, the next thing as well is, like, does Crucible add any, like, replayability factors to the game?
Yes, it does.
Like, that's okay. Yeah, no, go ahead.
It does,
I don't fucking know.
questionably.
It is, honestly, it is the only reason I've stuck with Destiny 2. Because I enjoy clapping little kids in Crucible.
Imagine if they had a death mic though.
I say usually PvP adds a lot of good replayability.
It's
to a game.
enjoyable to go in there, cool off a little bit, maybe make a couple of kids rage, and just feel good about yourself. Because sometimes I'm in a dry spell and I'm really just wanting to, like, jump off a bridge. I go into Destiny 2 PvP, clap a couple of 6-year-olds, and come back perfectly fine.
Or like, it's like no matter what game of Crucible I end up getting into, like John would be on a hot streak.
What?
John could be on a hot streak, and then I'll join his game, and then it's just like, no, like he won't be able to get like 5 or 10 kills in.
That only happened once.
You boost
that
the
happens
MMR
a
too
lot.
much.
That happens a lot.
That happened with Maldor because Maldor just exists.
Yeah, no, you boost the MMR of the lobby too much, and he just can't keep up.
I think it's like the opposite way around because I'm like one of the max ranks in Crucible and he's like the lowest.
Whatever you think.
Yeah, together we almost got to 17 for
Yeah,
Gambit.
I know.
For Gambit.
Gambit. I was say Crucible. I'm like ages above
I'd say
you.
because like anything with replayability outside of Crucible, a lot of it is like it comes down to playing with other people.
Yeah, moving on to the replayability part.
Yeah, you can actually do custom games.
No,
for
yeah,
Crucible
you can do
and
custom
Gambit.
games.
Well,
Finally.
but like what I'm saying is like outside of Crucible, you still have like just playing with other people. You're able to do like more stuff, kind of, or you're not able to do more stuff, but it's more fun to do like the more boring things.
Like replaying a campaign.
I would say it basically, to have fun replaying the game,
I
it
do
makes
that.
the necessity of having people to joke around and stuff with.
Yeah.
It requires you to do something outside of the game to have fun. You need to be playing with people that you can joke with, have fun with the people, not the game.
Because you
More
can't
so
even
make fun of the
replay
game.
like the main campaigns for like DLCs or Red War, anything they've taken out because vaulted content, and which we are gonna get into later, by the way.
We still have more?
Yes.
We're about halfway through the script.
Fuck.
Halfway? Really?
Look at where the slider is.
Oh my god!
I thought Systems was there. I thought
It's gonna be a long ass episode.
Yep.
But
and a half
the
at
only
least.
replayability outside of that is that you like, if you're planning on doing raids and stuff like that, you want to get each of your 3 classes, so Hunter, Titan, Warlock, up to that light level cap.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you have the ability to switch between them and kind of play the same game but with different abilities. That's pretty much the main replayability, and even that is extremely boring and grindy because you're just doing the same things over again.
Point exactly. That's why I
Yeah,
had to
I-
have this fucker along with the ride with me when I redid characters.
Yeah.
No, but,
Doesn't like the constant bullying.
when I first started my Warlock, I expected the leveling up to be very, very slow.
It wasn't.
But I was like within 2 days, I was at to where my Hunter was. And it's just like, how the fuck and why the fuck and what the fuck?
I mean, you were also playing like all day, both days, so.
True, but
Even then, I wasn't playing all day for one day, and my Titan was almost up where my Hunter was. My Hunter's near max
I mean,
level.
I can kind of give it to because my Vigilance Wing I had recently infused with another weapon, so that like infusing is like, oh yeah, you want this one weapon that's a little power, and yeah, this other weapon that's higher than it, so you can infuse that weapon with the other weapon and give this weapon over here the other weapon's power level.
Yeah.
And I did that with Vigilance Wing. So it went from being like 1295 to 1310.
1310's the magical number.
And it made my Warlock go from like 1100 to 1200, like to 1200, or yeah.
What are you doing over there?
Jude's being
Bryce
abused.
isn't even participating.
Bullying a
anymore.
puppy.
We don't replayability then on the system?
Yeah, so we're on
Oh,
the
yeah.
system. So, first thing I want to say, just like get out of the way really quickly, is that the seasons are account-wide, which is something that I actually really like about the game. Like, if it was that the seasons were separated per, like, character,
You're talking about Season Pass?
Yes.
yeah, that would suck so much. Like, imagine having to get to tier 100 in all 3 of your accounts, like...
That'd be hell. I've been playing the
like,
game
I
for
would,
like 4 days straight.
well, I would,
almost.
like if they were gonna do it something similar to that, I would have hoped that they would have gone, oh, you get to 100 on one character, it gets to 100 on all of them, but you just have to go on each account on each character and just claim all the rewards.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I was saying with that is, it takes a while to level up. Like, I've been playing the game, the new seasons, for about a solid 4 days, combined throughout all. And I'm
Really?
only, yeah. I play a lot of D2, dude.
So you probably play
a
more
lot.
than that.
But I'm only tier, like, 45.
Jeez.
It's fucking ridiculous. I've been playing for almost 4 days, and I'm only 45. This is bullshit.
I'll say another...
Fuck shit.
I'll say something that I don't like about part of the system in Destiny is the UI though.
Mm-hmm.
Like inside the menus just suck so much because
It's buttery.
actually I have it somewhere here. Yeah. So what I said for the UI is that there's so many things that they can combine. So like you can combine map and destinations. You could combine collections and triumphs.
Collection and Triumphs used to be combined. Then they
Yeah, I
separated
know.
it. For what fucking reason? I don't know, because it's Bungie.
They like menus. And then you could also combine character and inventory, which I'm pretty sure were actually the same thing in D1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you had roster and clan. You could do store and season 14, which is just how it usually is for seasons. And even then, store and season 14 separated, but with everything else combined, would also be fine. And then if you just put everything into the same menu screen, but keep it where it's like one button opens up the map while another button opens up your character, like a lot of games do, then that would work out perfectly fine. But that means that you wouldn't need like 2 entirely separate menus that basically have the same things but separated into a bunch of different categories. Like it's just it's just so annoying to have to deal with, especially with the loading times on it. Like,
Yeah, because then you got to go from screen to screen. That takes like 2 minutes for the fucking other screen to load. So you're just sitting there like, why did I buy this game again?
I'd say, and then you had something about reacquiring weapons and stuff that you liked about the game.
There was so I really liked so when I first started I got halfway through Red War. I got an exotic which was Vigilance Wing.
Vigilance Wing, me and all my homies hate the Vigilance Wing.
No, but I went through the rest of Red War with it. I went through Warmind and Curse of Osiris with it, and I went through Forsaken with it. And I went through all of it with it.
Weirdo.
And I just didn't know that the infusing thing was a thing at the time.
Fucking idiot.
So I was just like, okay, this is the only piece of equipment that's dragging me down, so I had to get rid of it. I also didn't know that the Volt was a thing at the time either. So I didn't know I could just put it in the Volt and just leave it there. So I dismantled it and equipped another weapon and went off with my day and cried probably. No,
You cried
Probably.
anyway.
Probably.
More than likely.
and then I met one of our mutual friend that John and I have named whose username is Black Mask, and he explained to me that I can actually go back into the exotics menu and get that back.
I'm not mutual friends with Black Mask, by the way. I don't like him.
Oh, well, I don't do that shit
Wow.
anymore.
We don't care about your relationship with people.
And I got it back, and I was so happy because I was like, oh my god, I went through so much with this fucking thing. I went through half of Red War. I went through.
It is D2 for you.
Honestly, no.
I want to marry the Vigilance Wing, in fact.
No, but it was really cool to have it back, and just you can do that with every exotic, and you can do that with most of other loot that isn't quote unquote randomized gear.
Well, okay, here's the thing about that. That makes sense. I'm, for once, on Destiny's side during this fucking VM session. The reason...
Are you about to cut me off?
No,
No, he
I
was
just
laughing
laughed.
at you.
Okay. But, the reason they don't let you do that is because then you could just get easy god rolls instead of actually playing to get
Yeah.
those god rolls. Like, on my Duke Mark 44, that I think they vaulted it and deleted from my account, and I hate them for that because it was fucking godly. But,
That's why
that-
I deleted it.
You know what? Fuck you. But that was a complete god roll, and I had to grind the shit out of Crucible to get it. I never used it. But if you could just reacquire random loot, then you could just keep rolling, and everyone would have the exact same
Right.
roll.
Unless
for
you could,
You
unless you
can't-
reacquired the.
The exact word that you got.
But
yeah,
then
I
what
think that
happens
would
if you
be
get
good.
the gun different times?
What do
So
you
it had
put?
different rolls on it.
Oh yeah.
How would you reacquire
Like,
it back?
I had like
Then it-
four
then
Duke
it
Mark
randomizes
44s.
It randomizes from what
Or you
you've
could
gotten.
choose.
It wouldn't let. It's
That-
Bungie.
yeah.
They wouldn't let you choose, even if they were smart.
But what I really like about what they're doing right now with the Black Armory, instead of it just for some reason they changed it from like the weapon stuff to armor.
No ornaments.
That's
later on
armor,
anyway.
Armor ornaments.
Just-
You can mention it now. I don't
Oh.
care.
But you're able to take like a piece of you can make literally any other piece of armor that you've had
Look like
into a
another piece.
universal ornament.
You know, look, it's really good. Like it's
Because
one of the
I
things I
had
don't
a-
complain about.
Yeah, I had
That's
a-
just that's like customization. Like that's not like something for gameplay, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But
Like that's the good part of
there was-
Destiny.
like, I had
The
a
gameplay isn't even good. The armor's honestly better. The character customization is better than the goddamn game itself.
But like,
Which is
like,
depressing.
for people who had a very specific look that they liked, that they weren't able to keep that look because that piece of armor was at its max power, or its max seasonal power. Or
That's
whatever.
how I was with the Wild Hunt armor.
But I'm like allowing people to make that piece of armor to a universal ornament. They can have that look again.
Yeah, that's how I was with Wild Hunt. I
I
had
don't
stuck
remember-
with it and it dragged me down forever, and you knew that because I always
Yeah.
had it on, even when it was sunset to 1100.
The armor that I had had like a bunch of like fur coming out of the back of it.
We don't need to know what it
And
looks like.
okay, I'm just trying to visualize it so that.
I'm kidding. Keep going.
And then just being able to have that have a look like that again, I just thought was cool.
That's one thing I like about like games like Breakpoint, where once you get a piece of gear, you can always go to your customization and override whatever you're wearing to that piece of gear.
Yeah, they didn't have that at first though, did they? It didn't come until later.
They had that
No,
at Breakpoint.
they had it at the beginning.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wildlands didn't have it originally. Breakpoint did.
Wildlands
Wildlands, you were just
Wildlands was just armor,
stuff and
or was just
You could
weapons.
customize your gear and your.
It was just the
you
weapons,
could customize your gear.
You were able to customize the stuff that you had.
But it didn't
specifically.
matter, like it does in Breakpoint, where like your gear,
Because
what you're
there
wearing
wasn't
spells you up.
the only things that you'd swap out were your weapons. So
What the fuck keeps touching?
I say the main piece that pisses me off about Destiny, which I'm getting into now, is bolted content and sunset weapons.
I have a big thing on Sunset, but you can start. This
Okay.
may take a while.
So for those who don't know, sunset weapons are ones that are weapons that didn't get updated from 1100 to 1300. So they stay at 1100 power, 1350. So they're not the max level that they can be, which means that they're just completely useless if you go basically beyond the starting point of the game. So basically sunset weapons are completely useless in the game.
Yeah.
And then you have volted content, which is essentially Destiny 2 completely taking stuff out of the game, which is Red War, which is what we've mentioned multiple times.
Fucking God, I hate the fact that they did that. It honestly makes me want to ride up to the studio.
I say
and
they've
throw a
done
brick at them.
They've done a few main quests. They have done 4 planets. They like
Or you can't just vault a planet, dude.
I say they had Titan,
They did?
Io, Mars, and
Mercury.
Mercury.
Yeah, Mercury.
Mercury
Um,
existed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mercury existed. I know.
Mercury didn't really have anything going on, but Mercury did exist.
I think it was there for Curse of Osiris or some shit like that.
Yeah, probably.
No, I think it was.
No, it was
Mars.
Mercury.
Or
No,
was it
Mercury
or was
was-
it Mars?
Because it was a small ass fucking playing thing.
I say Mars is a big thing for Red War.
No,
I thought so.
no, that was D1, dumbass.
All right.
Right?
But something that they said was that we've been adding approximately 25 gigabytes of content each year to Destiny 2 since launch, which is essentially their explanation. And so
But here's COD with like 123 gigabyte
Exactly.
games.
We don't talk about COD.
Well, hold on. Here's my thing with that though.
Hold on, let me finish the quote. The quote's not over. Those sizes not only stress hard drive capacity, but also push the limits of patching capability. That also makes the times to generate a stable update for the game after all content is finalized, tested, and ready to go balloon to literal days instead of hours. So
That's what I was saying now. So
Yes.
people may complain about the big size of COD, but realistically, it's not like they could do much about it. They could optimize their game, but that would require them to vault shit and put
There's
it
a
away.
lot they could do about it, but we're not talking about COD right
Yeah,
now.
we're not talking about COD. I'm just saying in general, like you just said, they didn't have to vault that shit. They could have just optimized the game better, but no, it's fucking Bungie. And once they lost Activision, it fucked them over because they didn't know what to do.
I just don't understand the point of sunsetting weapons, and then for volted
Overpowered.
content, you should find a better option than just getting rid of it.
Yeah.
Because, like, Bungie, all they have to do is research how other companies, like, Warframe has so much content in the game,
Warframe.
and it's smaller than Cold War.
I think it's like 60 gigabytes, isn't it?
Something like
60?
that.
Less than
that. I think it was like
39 on console.
Their war reason for getting rid of all those planets and stuff was because like the darkness came back, and those planets just straight up disappeared.
Well, yeah, but
that's
they
not
have
how
a
the solar system works.
they have a lore reason, but it's not a that's not a good reason.
And neither the real life reason or the lore
basically
reason
they
are good
took it out and
reasons.
they were like, "Oh, we need to come up with lore, darkness."
They didn't even have to come up with lore. They could have just said it's just not a player area anymore, because then there should be plenty of other planets that aren't consumed by the darkness that you could still go to.
And then it doesn't even make sense sequentially because there's planets that are like in the back of our solar system, which you would think would get taken over first because they're they're like the farthest away from the sun.
Yeah, but like
But that's a whole different rant.
I would say, like, I forgot how I wrote this down. So to quote what I wrote down, I said maybe Bungie should do research on how other games like Warframe do this type of content, or better yet, maybe just come out with a Destiny 3, you dumbasses.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Seriously, just come out with another game. Stop it with this 10-year plan bullshit that you need to come out with.
Like, what the fuck?
Because they're planning to re-release the content eventually, and then vault the content that's currently exists.
The
in
content
the game.
that's actually good, and then add in shit from D1 that wasn't good, is what I'm basically
Yeah,
hearing.
because they vaulted the previous 3 raids, because I think
then,
it was 3
and then
raids,
released Vault of Glass,
and then
which is
released Vault of
good.
Glass.
It's a good raid, but it doesn't compare.
But you should be able to have all 4 to play.
You shouldn't have to vault fucking raids to release
I
a raid
remember-
that was from Destiny 1. Already had all the assets and everything.
I would say they're eventually planning on
I think I
re-releasing
copy-pasted it, for
everything
fuck's sake.
from Destiny 1 back into Destiny 2
Yeah.
through vaulting content that's
I
currently
remember
available in the game.
When you and Bryce wanted to originally try to get back into the game, we still had Leviathan, and that was
Bad
like,
idea.
and that was our goal to get you guys to that point to where we can do it.
But now we would have to get you guys to 1320 to run Vault of
1320
Glass.
so we can
Yeah.
actually run Vault of Glass, which
And-
my Hunter is able to do so.
I could probably do that in like 3 days if I tried.
But the thing about re-releasing Vault of Glass is, I hate to say it, but they didn't do this because it's obvious that they didn't, but they could have literally just copy and pasted like they did for the Cosmic Realm start of the game. They could have just done that instead of vaulting shit to add it into the game because it takes up so much room. It
Yeah.
would have they could have upped the graphics a bit and then keep everything else the same, but they had to change some of the spawns, change some of the boss room, change some of everything, and then it just fucked over the fucking size of it because it's huge now. Mess up the flow of it. People that used to know how to do it don't know how to do it now because
It's completely
different.
different. Yeah.
But that's also a good thing though that
It's a
it
good
is
I agree
different.
with that.
but they were re-releasing it as the nostalgia factor of
Yeah.
oh, it's like the old thing, like they did for
yeah.
maps in BO4.
Yeah.
It's not the original thing, and it doesn't even play like it. So what's the point of adding it back in and acting like it's nostalgic?
I'd say for me in general, it's just like don't plan to release content in like the hope that your fan base is okay with you changing it.
You have to ask them.
Like they're gonna say no matter what, and they should know that. But like you're taking out like entire portions of the game. Like you're taking out planets. You're taking out missions. Like they're literally missing planets in the solar system.
That is by far the funniest shit. Just darkness.
Yeah, your solution to adding content shouldn't be taking away other
Exactly.
content.
Yeah, it shouldn't be replacement. It should be because then that's also hurting the replayability factor of the game. Because then there isn't anything to replay if you just keep putting it away.
Wasn't there a thing on finishers for the system as well? Or was that up in gameplay?
That might have been up in gameplay.
Ooh, okay. I would have liked to talk about that while we were there, but it's fine
You
now.
can go ahead and talk about it.
So finishers are kind of fucking useless. They're just simple,
They're
flat.
they're just there for visuals. That's what they are.
But I was reading through the script and I saw stuff about how you could fix it. Like, if you did it jumps
Oh,
in
that's
health-
probably in the improvements then.
Yeah.
Which we are into now, so you can start with that.
Oh, well, boost in health if you complete a finisher. There are certain exotics, like, I run the Hunter exotic, where if you do a finisher, the enemy genuinely explodes and can damage enemies near it. Really good exotic. Really fun to use in PvE. But I think one thing I thought they did at the beginning, which they might have actually done that just took out, is if you get a finish, you get a drop of ammo from each section. So you get a bit of heavy,
There's
bit of special, bit of primary.
There's a thing that you can get for, I don't remember what it is, but
Probably
I think it's an
luck.
overall thing. You can equip like a little aspect or gear mod onto your thing, onto your stuff, where you can do a finisher, but it'll take, and it drops like a bunch of like a special or heavy or normal ammo.
But that should already be in the game by set.
But-
Maybe you could.
But it takes away 1/10 of your super energy.
What?
What? I was
Well,
thinking maybe
that doesn't-
what
that
you could
doesn't-
have.
No,
I
I'm
have
done with
that.
Destiny. I'm deleting
I
the game.
have that, but it doesn't matter because my thing's at 60 for intellect, so I can just get it back within like 10
But
seconds.
that comes back to the thing of min-maxing, where you shouldn't have to do that just to get your super. If it was an exotic that did that, that'd be fine.
If it was an exotic that did that, that would be fine. But it's not an exotic. It's just an armor mod. It should be an exotic that does that. So the fact that, okay, you're losing out on something to gain another. Whereas with legendary armor, you're just putting it on there to put it on there because you need an extra slot or you need something filled out.
I'll say something they could do for finishers as well is like, you know how it shows you your melee abilities, your dodge ability, or like your class ability and
have
stuff.
it refresh one of those.
It's like
randomly refresh.
is add another section in your subclass area that talks about finishers specifically, so that you can choose an ability for it. So that way, it's just...
It could explode. It could add health.
It could
Yeah.
arc lightning and stuns people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then another thing you said,
That actually
iframes.
sounds really good.
Iframes, invincibility frames, whatever you want to call
They
them.
should
Yeah.
hire me.
They should have already been there by the start. You shouldn't be able to take damage while doing a finisher. The amount of times that has fucking killed me and made me want to throw my controller through the fucking
Just
window.
don't do
Well-
finishers.
The thing about that is, like, in Halo, like, you can do it in the, like, on an enemy and you can die while doing it. Like, that, like, I'm okay with not having iframes because it makes sense because doing it is a cosmetic choice more than anything.
Yeah, but
But-
like, in the thing of Doom, it's kind of like, most of the time when you're doing finishers it's because you're getting overwhelmed and trying to get a break for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think they might have iframes now, or like slight iframes, or damage resistance, something like that. But one of the examples I can put out there, you're getting swarmed by thralls. You damage one, you finish one, so you can get that couple seconds of breathing room, so you can get ready to jump away or put a barrier
Yeah.
up or something like that.
One of the problems with a system like that, though, where you're invincible, is the health regen system. You
Yeah.
can start regenerating health while you're doing that then, and it's that kind of... It becomes unfair.
Overlaps, yeah.
Yeah.
On to the next one, I guess now. Done with fucking
so
that.
something I want as well, I think that would be good. Like, the way that Destiny flows, I feel like if they added an accurate hip fire, like in Titanfall or in Halo, that would make the game feel a lot better. Because the ADS is terrible in that game.
Don't even get me started
And
on
the
the goddamn
hip fire
snipers.
is so inaccurate. Yeah, the snipers kind of suck just for
That's
the fact
what I was talking
that
about earlier when
they
I brought
don't
up shotguns.
have close range.
Shotguns, in console at least, overpowered. Same with PC. Snipers, haven't seen one in about 3 years.
No, we didn't get into a Gambit game where that
He
one
sucked.
kid ran our shit with a sniper.
It wasn't a sniper.
It
I
wasn't?
ran his shit with a sniper. He was running my shit with a scout rifle. You got that mixed up.
No. I wasn't there some guy that
No.
See, scout
got
rifles
all
are fun.
four of us with it. Got all four of us.
That
with-
was, I don't remember, but I know I ran someone's shit with a sniper, and I felt really proud about it because I'd never used snipers.
He basically just wanted to talk about how good he did one game.
I'll say, and something for a buff for Hunter, because you were talking about how like the for you read it for like the
back to Shadow Step. Do you want?
yeah.
D1?
So it's like dodge should have like more of a meaning than just some kind of utility refresher, because usually the dodge like refreshes your grenade ability or reloads your weapon or something like that for Hunter, but Hunter
reload your
is-
weapon or melee.
Hunter is like the idea of Hunter is supposed to be more mobility
And it's
based.
the least mobile of all the classes.
Exactly, and so I feel like if you actually
Especially on
made it
PC.
where the dodge was more something like the Division, where it actually is useful in the game, then it would feel a lot better. Like if it was faster, it gave you longer distance, there was more recovery time and starting time for doing it, like everything
Shade
like
Step
that.
in D1. But then they got annoyed with that and decided, you know what, we're going to take it out of the game and just make it a single-use thing. You could genuinely run a team's shit by shade stepping. Because you would kill someone, shade step behind a wall, rotate around, kill another person, do the same thing. And run a team's shit because they didn't know where the fuck you were.
Yeah.
Hunters are supposed to be sneaky. Hunters are supposed to be hard to hit.
Yeah, they're supposed to be fast, supposed to be like
Why the fuck are
hard
they the
hit
worst class then?
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like I say, like Warlocks are supposed to be support, Titans are supposed to be
Be
like
the tank.
tanks,
Front
and then,
line,
and
push
then you
the
have
end.
Hunters who are supposed to be
The
the
flank.
attack. Yeah.
Flank step. What the fuck are you doing, June?
I'd say something as well that Anthem also has a problem with is like lost sectors. So in Anthem you had something like lost sectors that were also like caves and stuff that you could enter into in the game, and they just wouldn't give you anything except for some shitty loot.
That's exactly
so
what Destiny
it
is, except
completely
worse.
destroys some replayability that you could have in the game. So an improvement that we could do is to like actually make the Lost Sector into something more. I don't really have a direct suggestion as to what that could be, but I mean, you have an entire creative team for that reason. So
Yeah.
you know,
The way
use it.
The way they could improve it, for example, is adding a chance to get an exotic. They've done this recently with legendary Lost Sectors, which is just Lost Sector but harder, and with modifiers.
Nice.
So it gives you the chance to get an exotic. That should be a normal thing in Lost
Yeah.
Sectors, though. It should be a very low drop chance, but it should be possible.
It's like
Instead of
replaying missions in Division 2 to get a
Yeah.
exotic drop.
And then
sorry.
and with Lost Sectors, the only thing you can really get out of the chest is at max a blue piece of gear. That's about all you can get.
Yeah. And you have to
And
go
some
through like
materials.
waves of enemies
Yeah.
just to
The,
get it.
You get more from the fucking enemy than you do the goddamn chest.
there's a Lost Sector that we need to do for Beyond Light. We have to go through and stop a bunch of people from going to Europa.
You rope my ass.
And
Sorry.
and there's a glitch with that Lost Sector where like, when you go to loot it, it just spurts out heavy ammo. And it's like you open the chest, nothing happens for like 2 seconds, and then just heavy ammo.
That's weird.
No, and it doesn't even make it like go straight up like it would like with normal stuff. It just goes all out to one side.
I'd say another thing that I would really like for the maps is a legend. Because for so long, I didn't know that the Lost Chest icon meant Lost Chest. I had to look it up online to know what it meant.
What do you mean Lost Sector?
No, the Lost Chest. Like, there's, like, the...
Golden chest.
Like, the 4, like, lines with the dot in the middle. Those are just, like, in-world chest areas that you can go to get chests. And I don't like...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. I was like, what the fuck
I
is he
was
talking
confused
about?
as hell. I was like, what the fuck does he mean? And I thought
Not
of the one
like
that's
lost
this.
sectors, lost chests. Like
Yeah.
chests that were lost.
So the golden chest, basically, that's what they are. They're just the golden.
Well,
chest.
but they're not golden chests. They just suck. They give you
they're
terrible
not
loot.
called like sector chests.
Sector chests. I think that's it.
There's certain ones that are golden chests, like that are painted, spray painted gold, because that's what they fucking look like. That just give you shit like slightly better, and then there's just the normal sector chests.
Yeah, I would say like for that I didn't know what they were. Lost sectors I didn't know what they were until some mission told me.
Some mission.
Like the public events. The only reason I knew it was because like when you activate it, it tells you that it's a public event. And
I mean, if you can't do that, you just need glasses.
yeah,
Honestly.
I was like public events are more obvious, but like that should just be how it is for everything. Like everything should like be able to you should be able to see a legend, see everything what it is, and then you should also be able to select any part of the map for a waypoint, not just public events, because you can't even select stuff like lost sectors, which is
Lost
so
sectors
stupid.
make sense. There's supposed to be a search for them.
Well, but you
like-
could select to get to the area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I understand not having like a waypoint that tells you specifically where the entrance is, but like a waypoint where it takes you to a search area.
Yeah.
Where where you can actually see the lost sector on the map, that would make so much more sense.
As an example of that, this is a very, very different game.
Okay.
But in Batman Arkham Knight, there's an entire set of missions we have to find firefighters. And you can like if you get intel for it, it'll just be like, oh yeah, the officer will be like, oh yeah, no, I heard a thing where I was like, oh, over in this area in like Petersburg or whatever.
So like for a closer
Otisburg.
comparison, you could have Ghost Recon Wildlands or Ghost Recon Breakpoint, where it takes you to a search area.
So yeah, to a search area.
Or
a
you know
highlighted
Warzone's
area.
bounty thing, whereas if you get the
Oh,
closer
yeah,
you
yeah,
get,
the
the
closer you
smaller
get,
the circle gets.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really cool. I didn't know about that one.
For bounty, you
Well,
did.
no, I knew the bounty things, but I didn't know they got smaller.
yeah, when you get
Also-
when you get closer to it.
I have a question, because I know you guys told me that these two used to be combined. Why did they separate the helm and the tower?
Storage reasons, I guess. I don't fucking know.
No, they
Why are you
were-
asking me this?
When I said they were combined, I meant like there's the map for for
The
the tower,
and it was just
and
up
then,
in
and
the
then
corner.
you can go and select the
Oh,
helm.
okay.
I am glad that they changed it to where it's outside the traveler though, because it's so much easier to get to now.
I mean,
I
it's
just-
still technically a part of the fucking tower, though.
I
I just wish there was a whole section of the tower that you can physically
I
go
just
to
don't
from the
understand
tower.
what the point of the helm is. Just
Aldrin.
Seasonal events, kind of like
but
seasonal
still,
splicer,
it's something that you
seasonal
could have just
challenge.
added into the tower.
Just make
it's
it like
not,
a separate section of the tower that you can walk to.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's not. It
Gambit and
doesn't need
Ada
to be
or
something
Ada.
that's completely separate.
Yeah.
Like the Black Armory.
We were down here earlier. I think we skipped over something.
No, I scrolled down
He scrolled up and
to
down.
for the combinations of the menus.
So down space. Well,
I would say
we already talked about the finishers.
yeah. So something I also want that I was looking at was more options for scope magnification.
Oh yeah.
Not to mention looks for them, because like Call of Duty, you've always been able to change. Not always, but you've been able to change the reticles a lot.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I wish
Change
they had
reticles
something
at
like
all.
that. I don't know if you can change.
Yeah.
I don't think you can change the reticles.
You can
Nope.
change for specific weapons. You can change
The
the way the
actual
reticle,
scope.
the actual scope.
But it doesn't change the reticle.
But it
Oh,
does. It
doesn't?
also doesn't change
I've seen stuff
the.
where it changes the reticle.
It also doesn't
Well,
change
the
the
reticle changes with the
magnification.
scope. Yeah, it does.
Well, but I mean,
Changing the scope
I mean,
changes.
not heavily. Like it's not like
Yeah.
a 1 times to an 8 times. It's like an 8 times to a 6 times
Yeah.
for like snipers
in
and
specific.
like because you should be able to equip anything that you want onto the different weapons. I mean, obviously with some restrictions, like you're not gonna put an 8 times scope on your hand cannon.
Okay, you know,
Like
why
this-
don't you just put it 8 times on the sweet business?
You know what? But it's not.
You're not gonna put 8 times on a shotgun.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're the
Unless
Mozu
it's a slug
from Black
shotgun.
Ops 4, but you know,
that thing was a shotgun? That was
I'm talking about hand cannon.
no
Oh.
hand cannon. But as well. So moving on from that, because that's a short thing. Return to orbit takes too long. Like,
Oh, you can be
you have to
started.
hold Y. Like, my thumb starts to break by the time that you finally go to orbit.
And then when you finally go to orbit, it takes about a good 5 minutes for you to load in so you can pick something else. So it's
Yeah.
like, honestly, at this point, I think deleting the game would take less time.
I feel
so-
like the return to orbit holding Y, it should be like you hold it for like max a second, and then if they want to make it so you
and then
can't
it pops
accident,
up,
and
so
if they
with
want to
yes
make it
or
so
no.
you can't accidentally do it, have that where it's like, do you want to go to orbit? Yes or no?
Yeah, so even you can even just press Y.
Because that's why it takes so
Yeah,
long,
like
so you
that.
don't accidentally do it.
And
Yeah,
then
but it takes,
Sparrow.
but even that long, if you cut the time by half, you could still not accidentally do it. Like it's so it's like holding shift in Minecraft
I'm
and like
sure there's someone.
probably Michael.
And then on to
Um,
Sparrows.
So sparrows for me is another thing that just doesn't feel right in the game. Like they're fine how they are, but honestly, I think they could do more with how they work in actually like fighting.
Have more of a use.
yeah,
Because if you use them in a fight, you're dead.
yeah, because like if you could
They
like,
have, like,
it would be so cool if you
just
could have
one
a Transformers type thing where
What
like
the
you could
fuck?
where like you could hop onto your sparrow really quickly, move somewhere else in the fight, and then hop off of it again.
Like you can jump on the sparrow.
Oh, I
And
thought
so-
you were talking like Transformers,
No,
like
you're
robots in
gonna
disguise
turn-
type shit.
You're gonna turn into
Pull out
the
gun.
sparrow.
Become the
Just run into
sparrow.
someone.
To learn how the sparrow is, you must become.
I would say, and then being able to like maybe even modify your sparrows, like you could add a better engine to it to go faster.
Oh, you can on certain
you could
ones.
customize.
Yeah.
You could
Certain
customize the maybe the front of it for better aerodynamics, so like you can cut through wind faster
Add weapons to
or
it.
add weapons to it.
Weapons, no, because there's already the pikes in the game. They exist for a reason.
But
For
still,
power fantasy.
But they aren't fucking fast at all.
You're not fast.
But it's like the only reason right now for the sparrow is
get from one location.
I'm
to
not
another.
able to fast travel on the map because it's set
Server
up
hop.
horribly, so I need to use the sparrow to get there.
Yeah.
Whereas if they do something where they add
Or
weapons or
missions.
something like that, it's like it
I-
has a little more.
That's
I
why-
do
so-
wish that they would allow you to pull out a weapon as you're on it.
That would be cool. That
Like
would be
GTA's bikes.
I say
Yeah, just like that.
I would say because it does. They also do have quick action movements, but unless you have one that like specifically gives you better quick action movements on it, they suck. and there's just like no point in even using them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've ever legitimately used the quick action movement on the Sparrows. I think I just drive through people. Like,
I do occasionally for jokes.
I usually use the dodging thing just to get out of the way of a wall.
Yeah. If
Honestly,
anything.
yeah. And I use
to
the...
avoid from hitting a wall or going.
And then there's something that I didn't know of until like a couple months back. If you press the D-pad while on a thing, your fucking guardian goes like this and shit. Like, starts pointing everywhere. It's fucking funny.
Really?
What?
Yeah. And when you're in the air, he'll start doing tricks if you press those buttons.
Oh, I knew that.
I didn't
Fucking
know that.
sick.
I didn't know that. Noted.
Michael has learned so much today.
I know. Man, I learned more here than I learned at school when it was still going.
So the last thing that we mainly just have in here as a joke is being able to do this thing that we've coined this term, space whale.
Space whale.
It's this thing in Warframe where, you know, if you have your ship out and about in the loading screen, you're able to actually move it around and stuff like that. And it would be amazing if Destiny 2 had something like that.
It makes the loading screen just a little funner instead of just looking at it just flying next to the planet.
Well, to be honest though, some of the loading screens from when you're going somewhere or going for like slip space or whatever the fuck they call it, it genuinely looks pretty. To look at all the colors and
but
all
you could also space whale.
But it's just...
But you could space whale.
Again, having the ability to space whale would be so cool.
But yeah. So yeah, that wraps it up for Destiny 2. That's probably going to be our longest one.
At least an hour and a half.
I could make Siege longer.
We could all make Siege collectively like 4 hours.
Siege might be pretty long. But definitely make sure you check out our past two. Both of them are about Call of Duty. One was about Warzone, and then one of them was about zombies. And then obviously we did Destiny 2 today, and then next week is going to be Rainbow Six Siege. So make sure you look out for that stuff. Because we're just recording them all like today, so
bad idea.
While I'm still here.
Yes.
You're not up in California.
So.
Or down technically.
Over.
Around.
Somewhere over there, and where it's always fires.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Let me know your own thoughts on Destiny 2 as well, and what improvements it could possibly... Like, I personally think Destiny 2 could have a lot of potential, but right now, Bungie just is doing such a terrible job at literally everything in the game, except for the looks of it. And
the looks and the sounds.
Honestly, the content vault is the worst thing I've ever heard about a video game in my entire life.
Yeah. I will say one thing. This is really late to say, but they are getting rid of Sunset.
They are getting rid of Sunset.
Yes.
That's at least one improvement. If they can
2022.
If hopefully,
oh my god!
I would say if at the end of their life cycle they're able to get rid of vaulted content as well, that would be better than just having
Bring back vaulted
permanently
content.
Unlocked or permanently locked content that is vaulted.
So we should probably end this before we go on a rant.
Yeah. So
make editing easier.
So yeah. Besides all that, make sure you check out next week's episode for Rainbow Six Siege, and game on.
Find AFKast on Instagram and Twitter, @AFCommunity, for any updates on future podcast episodes. If you want to join the community Discord, find the link in the description or on the website, afcommunity.com. Special thanks to DJ Augie for making the music for this podcast.